Hello and welcome to Happy Foot Sad Foot, your LAFC gateway drug and the only LAFC podcast founded by Lamar Hunt. I'm Travis Helwig.
I'm Vince LaRosa.
And I'm Darren Miller. Welcome to our double preview episode of LAFC's next two matches. The first versus Kansas City for the U.S. Open Cup final on Wednesday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. at BMO Stadium, followed by Cincinnati on Saturday, September 21st at 4:30 p.m. at TQL Stadium in Cincinnati. You can watch both on MLS Season Pass and Apple TV Plus. With a couple bonus notes here, Wednesday's match is free, and for Saturday's match, Vince and I will be hosting an official LAFC live watch-along on LAFC Gold, which is free to join. You just go there and join. I think it's gold.lafc.com. We'll leave a link in the show notes. So come watch that match with us while we mind our manners at the dinner table, and then come let loose with us on our live post-game call-in show as well. 10 minutes after the final whistle of both matches, in fact, at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot.
The first official LAFC watch-along of the season.
That is true.
Congratulations.
And we'll finally prove which of us is the root of the curse.
Oh, this is going to be really fun for me then.
Oh, yeah, if we win, it's on me. We'll talk about it in a second. Later in the show, we'll see how well we know the rich history of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And of course, we'll cover all the storylines for this week's match and make some bets. But first, we recently talked about skipping it, and all of us immediately felt an intense shock in the back of our necks. So once again, and forevermore, it's time for listener-mandated banter. Listener, thank you for not shocking us right now. We're doing it.
We're doing the banter.
Are you guys excited to do the watch-along?
Yeah, those are fun.
Can I be honest?
Uh-oh.
Of course, it's going to be fun because we get to watch a game and do it, and everyone's going to watch with us, which I really enjoy because that's what we do. But let's not pretend like there's not a final on Wednesday. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it's hard to look past that.
Darren and I could be doing a lot of tap dancing. That's all I got to say.
You're saying if we lose in the final and then we're playing Cincinnati in Cincinnati in the next match and we're on the hot seat trying to entertain everybody, that might not be super fun.
I'm just going to say I'll either really envy Travis or not.
I'll say this. My favorite thing when we were doing those watch-alongs last year was the first 5 minutes of the post-game show after the watch-along, where we got to be like, okay, here's all the things I couldn't say because LAFC would get mad at me. Because when, you're being paid by LAFC to do those, you got to be nice. You can't say that the good people at Ford are racist or something.
Which is definitely straight where our mind goes.
Because that makes them not good people.
Yeah. The only way we could actually get in trouble is by saying something about the sponsor.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, me saying this right now could halt you being able to do. Well, I'm not going to be there, so it's on me.
That's true.
I'm not going to be there.
We proactively kicked you off, so we already got ahead of it. And look at us. That's why Darren and I are doing it. Actually,
I also do want to say for the record, they have consistently only said that we can say whatever we want.
Yes, that's true. It's us.
I think we just feel instinctively they don't realize what that really means. So we try to be careful.
You guys don't take it as wholesome. It's nice when people want you to just be yourself.
They don't know who we really are.
Well, but they also don't know that there is a layer of all three of us that is terrified of getting in trouble. We getting in trouble, but we also don't really like it. When we get in trouble, we're usually like, oh, come on, we didn't. I didn't even mean if I'm gonna get in trouble, it's because I meant to do it. I didn't even mean to get in trouble this time. So because we don't know where that line is, the terror remains.
I do love getting in trouble on purpose, and I hate getting in trouble by accident.
But it simmers. So we'll see how the result goes, because Darren and I could get wild.
It's not lost on us too that it's a gift that LAFC lets us record our post game at the games when they're home. So it's I think that's also part of it. It's I can't say anything too negative about the team because they also could fuck up our ability to go to a game and record the post game at any point. It would be very easy for them to do it.
Although I really would love one time we do something, we don't hear about it, and then one day I'm just going to the stadium and anonymously a bag is put over my head. I'm just whisked away.
Well, you know about how, maybe I only know about this because I'm a Knicks fan, but James Dolan will ban people from the Garden, and they installed facial recognition. So if you're mean to him in an article as a journalist, he will ban you, and you won't know until you walk through the door and people pull you into a side room and say you're not allowed to be here. It is insane. They use facial recognition to punish journalists. And that's what we are, journalists.
We're all journalists.
Doctor of journalism.
I'm a journalist doctor, a journalism doctor. Other journalists,
when a journalist breaks a leg, you fix them.
You don't have to.
No, when other journalists have trouble with their sources or their editor or something's broken in their prose, they come to me and I help them.
Yeah, Darren's a PhD doctor. Where like you don't have to call him doctor, but if you don't, you're a dick.
Can I share what I'm doing on Saturday? That's very exciting.
Please do.
So
I think we brought it up because we weren't sure if we could share it.
Well, it's public now, but after. So we've talked about my wife winning the Emmys on here a few times. That happening, and
she's welcome.
And Jean Smart, the lead of the show, has won Best Actress 3 times in a row, and she was lucky enough to be asked to host the premiere of Saturday Night Live, a thing she's never done. She's in her 70s, like an insane, cool thing for someone to do in their 70s. And so I get to go to the premiere of SNL with my wife. And like, I've been to the show before, but I've never experienced it like through the lens of the host. And that'll be I'm very, very excited to go do that.
That'll be so awesome.
Will you have to hold back?
Do you think Pete Davidson's going to try to hook up with her?
I mean,
who?
Isn't that
you or your wife or Jean Smart?
Jean Smart. It would be cool if
any of you should say yes.
He can fuck Jen, I don't care, but Jean, that would be cool.
Do it for the show.
Do it for the show.
How hard do you think it's going to be for you to not like just want to give notes?
I have learned over the last couple of years how to be a passive participant in the ride of my wife's show. Like, I'm a writer. I give thoughts when I'm able, and it's clear that it's being asked of me. I know I'm good now at playing the support role when needed and backing away when not. It wasn't the easiest thing at first, but now I'm quite good at it.
Hence the marriage advice end of our show. There you go.
That's been marriage advice.
Yeah.
A special segment as part of listener mandated.
Travis sprinkled.
That's marriage, baby.
He sprinkled it. He sprinkled it very lightly in there. He's like,
that's marriage, baby.
But it's an Easter egg for all of you, because really that's what we're gearing towards, right? Like next seasons, we're not doing LAFC. We're doing a Bachelor show, right?
Yeah. It'll be all of our listeners vying to be my second wife or husband.
Ooh, actually. Tell me more. Tell me more about this show. Can we? I want to do this. The first shared reality dating show. There's no way we can leave that in. We can't leave that in.
Right. I think
we'll cut it. We'll cut that whole thing out.
I think we gotta cut. You were good until the last word.
Until jism.
You didn't stick the landing. Hey.
I don't know. Jism is pretty good. Okay. Well, shall we talk about soccer and not my marriage advice?
Sure. Let us know in the comments what you think we cut.
Yeah.
No, actually don't. That is a period of time where I want to know what you think we cut. Darren, start the show.
Hang on one sec. Sorry. I have a visitor.
Is it a dog?
No, it's a human.
Does he know I just said jism?
All right. Well, as the most casual sicko of the sickos on this show, I'll never miss a match, but I'm also a soccer simpleton with a nice, overwhelming, anxiety-inducing life outside of all this that I'm busy living. So I know I'll never be able to do my own research like my friend Travis, the human LAFC crazy wall, and I don't have an entire soccer lobe in my brain like my friend Vince, the original soccer head, medically speaking. So I'm lucky enough to be here each week and hear them break down the most important storylines of every match, and I know I can at least hit record so we can all enjoy every match so much more in a segment we call Storylines.
Gotta say, I love original soccer head, medically speaking.
Thank you.
Do we worry Soccerhead's going to sue? I think Soccerhead has a trademark.
I hope he does. I'd be happy to find out he listens. We're big fans, Soccerhead. But you're not the first.
Darren, Vince, DINCE, I come to you on a very important week in LAFC history, with the first storyline being the storyline that I know has been on everyone's mind for a month now, and it's this. Will we break our championship curse? In just the last 2 years, I'm not even going to include beyond that, we have been to 4 championships, and we have lost 4 times if we don't include the Western Conference Final. Last year, we lost the MLS Cup to Columbus with a Champions League to Leon. It was the league then, not the cup. And Campeones Cup to Tigres. This year, we lost the League's Cup final to Columbus, and we didn't even make the Champions Cup. But I think it's worth considering as we enter into the U.S. Open Cup final this Wednesday that every one of those games I just mentioned was against a team that on paper was better than us. And the U.S. Open Cup final this Wednesday is the first final where I would say we should be the favorite overwhelmingly. We're at home. This Kansas City team is better than it was at the beginning of the season, but it's still pretty inconsistent. They sort of tripped their way into the Open Cup final. But the fact that we're supposed to win actually makes this feel even scarier, knowing how we've performed in finals up until this point. But Hacks lost best comedy twice before winning in the third season. So I'm going to give some of that Gene Smart juju over to LAFC. Darren, a win on Wednesday doesn't just feel important. It feels almost existential, which is even more wild because of just how little we cared about the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup in the past.
The Open Cup show of record is right here. How dare you?
Darren, walk us through how much you think this game means suddenly to the fans, and I bet to the players, both psychologically and emotionally.
This game is, as you said, absolutely existential. We have not won nearly enough games since losing our last final to have trench that stretches from one final to the next final opportunity is absurd at this point. Even the fact that we have been playing as poorly as we've been playing is bad given how good the roster is on paper. Yes, you're right. We should absolutely destroy Kansas City. And yet, sometimes I feel like maybe we're unrealistic about how good we actually are. And we're just like, we know how good we're supposed to be, where we know how good we should be. But if Kansas City's playing well lately and we're playing poorly lately, why should we be favored to win? Basically, I'm starting to feel just negatively about the team by default, which I don't know if I remember ever feeling that way before. Toward the beginning of the season, we were like, this might not be a good season. Like, we might not be like the elite team we're used to being. We have to be okay with the fact that maybe this is just like not quite a great season. But then we played well enough for it to be bullshit to be back there. And here we are where I don't know what we can do if we lose this game. Like, this is crazy at this point. We have so much talent and we're just blowing it. We can't fall further. That's terrible.
Darren, this is a beautiful moment in the podcast history where you have gone full black pill. You have read the Twitter.
This is his villain origin story.
You are fully.
Sorry.
You're not
I'm
a
sick
casual
of losing.
Anymore. You're so you would say that this match is existential. You agree with that, right? It is. It feels as important of a match as we've had. It's the most important match of the season, I would say.
If we win every game, if we lose this and then win every single game and win MLS Cup, that's like the only way we can recover from it.
Right. You're right. You're right. That's the only way to get out of it. Vince, do you agree with Darren? And then tell us what we need to know about this Kansas City team.
The last part's definitely fair. And I think when you really consider it, and I know that like we get harassed all the time because we don't call for immediate changes after every single loss. And we kind of talked about it on the live stream. It was like, don't come to us for that anyways. Like, I'm totally here to say like, hey, if they lose this game, there definitely needs to be a real review, and you can believe me or not believe me if they're actually going to do it. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, they're not even going to do it without even seeing any proof of it or not proof of it. And that's fine because you're upset and you should be upset just like Darren's upset. But we're not going to just say people should be fired. Like, there's a lot of different answers. But to Darren's point, I don't know what those are. So that's where the darkness comes in. And that's where I think I understand the fan perspective more than anything. It's like, if it was an easy change, we would all know how to do it. But then also if it was an easy change, don't you think they would have done it already? And now, oh shit, I'm terrified. My team, as Darren said, might not be as good as I thought they were. And I think
they're as stumped as we are?
I was going to say, do you think the players feel this level of, I'm on edge going into Wednesday, right? And I didn't feel that way. I was like, once we got to the final, I'm like, I feel pretty good about the Open Cup. I don't feel that way anymore. Do you think that the players are as on edge as we are about how important this game is? Or do you think they've sort of been phoning in the other games knowing that this is the important game?
It's hard to say they've been phoning in games. I think and it's hard to say they're on edge. I think they're taking it very seriously. And judging by watching Aaron Long and Steve talk in the press conference, it's like they weren't gonna pretend like they hadn't lost in all the other finals. Although they did take umbrage with how you lose those finals and what it means when the team changes and the team's always evolving. I think they're just being athletes in that moment and being like, look, there's a lot more to it that you don't understand. But I don't think they're saying that they think it's bullshit that they've lost in 4 finals. So I think they're straddling the line, because I mean, some people would say, and you guys could maybe answer this, you would prefer a team that comes in there and they're just like, we don't give a shit. We don't give a fuck about anything. Losses don't matter. Only thing that matters tomorrow, and we feel really confident. And some people might say, okay, you're fucking crazy. You've lost 4 times. Maybe you should take it a little more seriously. So like, they're going to split people either way they go. So I'm wondering what makes you guys feel better if you're watching your team and you're thinking, I want my guys to pretend like yesterday didn't matter, or you want your guys to actually acknowledge it because you think that is a better path forward to, it's how you learn from your mistakes.
It's interesting. It's an interesting question, because I feel like I kind of don't want the athletes I like to think about this in any nuanced way, the way that I think about it, right? Because the minute they get in their heads and start thinking about it, the play gets affected. It's like you have to, there's a reason athletes like use platitudes a lot in like their Instagram comments. And it's because that shit helps you, because you can't think about it in any sort of nuanced way. You have to be able to be like, rise and grind. Today's the day the champions are made, or whatever bullshit that they say. You know, it's like, right. You have to think that simply, where it's like, if I work hard enough, I will do it. If I put the work in, I will do it. Because the minute you're like, well, we've lost 4 finals and we're coming in on a slump, and I don't know, have you guys, it just feels like maybe we're not as good. Like, if they thought about any of this, that doubt will creep in. It's not motivational. This is for us to feel anxiety. I would much rather them be oblivious to the storylines that we say here on this podcast than them speak to them. But I do think it also adds to the frustration of fans that they don't speak to them. But I think it's probably the smart move, right? Is to pretend that I doubt any of them like read. Well, some of them might. Ricky Pooge certainly reads what's going on Twitter, but like, I don't imagine people are actively seeking out the negativity on Twitter, because it doesn't help. It will only complicate things if you get in your head.
I mean, I had somebody close that worked closely with the team a while back one time tell me, he's like, don't kid yourself. Every single one of these guys in certain moments thinks that they're Neymar. He's like, they might not show it because they know that they'll get clowned if they show it in front of guys that are better than them. He's like, but if you put them in certain situations where they think they're better than you, they think they're Neymar. And he's like, and that's just the way it is. And he's like, that's just the way it's got to be. And it was kind of like an enlightening moment of like, you might like, as fans, look, if they lose this game, we can all clown them or whatever, you know, because again, it's our happiness that is involved in here. But going into it, if you think that you're like, have a better mentality or you're tougher than these guys in the way that like Travis is, like, they have to literally pretend like nothing happened and just be like, nope, I'm still the best. Like, that's psychopath talking. And like, but they have to have a little bit of that. So like, make no mistake, every single one of the guys that will suit up would kill you in a dark alley, like if they had to. Like, I'm just saying. And so like, I don't say that it doesn't mean that they're going to win. It's just like, remember that though, if things go wrong, like sometimes it's not because these guys are like pussies. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just not the way it is.
I want them to be like 2/3 of the way to that end of the spectrum. I think I don't want them to be full psychopath. I want them to think they're Neymar. Neymar would have never become Neymar if he didn't think he was Neymar. But I also want them to be pragmatic about what the game plan is and how to execute it and properly prepare and be smart about what they're supposed to do on the field. And I think one of the things that I see us struggling with is a lot of superheroes. So like, just being as confident as you need to be, as confident as that is not enough for me, because I think that's contributing to the problem a little bit too. Like, you also have to be like, not just, I'm just going to muscle through it and just win the game because I'm going to will the team to victory. You got to be like, I know what we all need to do and I know my part.
I think it can be separated out, right? The players, totally. I want them to
people do win.
I want players to be Instagram captions, right? I don't want them to think about the nuance of this at all. I want them to be machines that are like that that are like saying like I'm trying to think of other sports platitudes, but it's been too long. But I want that to be how their brain works, right? Smooth brain outside of victory. But I think something that we've had two coaches in LAFC history, and both have been pretty cerebral, right? Bob can be emotional on the field, but in those interviews, pretty cerebral. Dolo, very cool, right? Always level-headed, and can be scary, but it's in a level-headed, cool way. And I think as fans, sometimes that is very frustrating, right? Because we're like, you don't care as much as we do. You're saying it doesn't matter, and he's giving Vince in a post game, right? Like it's a similar vibe where it's like, I know in the grand scheme of things, this isn't a big deal. In this moment, it may suck, but here's how I'm looking at it on a grand scale, and here's how we're going to fix it. Let's be pragmatic. As a fan, that frustration that people throw at Vince in post games is 100 times more towards Dolo, which is also why people are calling for his head. We'll get to that in a little bit. But quickly, I know we're talking about psyche and stuff like this, but I do want to talk about this Kansas City team because we've played them before.
Wait, we're playing another team?
Oh, fuck.
We're not just playing Steve Cherundolo. We also have to play another
We're not just playing our demons? Oh, man.
The ghost of...
hard enough.
That's maybe a better matchup for us.
So, Vince, what do we need to know about Kansas City? Who do we have to watch out for? And how have they been lately as a team?
They play kind of in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3, 4-2-3-1. You're basically going to have, 4, sometimes 5 dedicated guys that are kind of offensive. Yeah, they're going to press you a little bit and they're going to try to win the ball back, but they're really just looking to cheat and get in behind you. They've got similar type of profile to LAFC, like Johnny Russell, Shallowy, or, they would remind you a little bit of like a Bogusz and Bouanga, not quite at the highest levels, but they can be powerful on the dribble. If they get you in 1v1 situations and you turn the ball over in stupid moments, like they're going to make you pay. But the flip side is they haven't been as good all season, and defensively they're not as strong. And because they have to put so much into it just to, grind out a goal, you can puncture them. You can score goals. And I think, and this is just LAFC in general, but this really plays into Kansas City too, is like, you got to get the first goal. Get the first goal. I think then, obviously it really sets up LAFC's play, but I just think that this Kansas City
and it worked against the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think they'll just put so much into it. How dare you? I think they just put so much into it, and I don't think they don't have the horses the Galaxy do. And then also they're not playing at home. They just lost their last game to Minnesota, but they like statistically dominated the game. And now here's what's weird. You look at it and you go like, I think they were rotating because Johnny Russell didn't start, Polito didn't start, Shallowy was in, Agata was in, and you're like, wait a second. You have to remember this team hasn't been good all season. And I'm not saying that they couldn't be good in the 90 minutes, but the margin of error that they have is much bigger. So even if they're rotating guys, like these guys haven't been on all season. It's not like, and again, I'm not saying that this will happen for LAFC, but Bouanga's been good all season. Like Palencia, Tillman, Long, these guys have all been good all season. Yes, they've had down moments, but they've been fewer and farther in between than the Kansas City team. And I think that's what you, maybe as a team, you're saying in that room, other than the tactical approach and other than talking about like, we just want it more, you just say like, guys, like Darren was saying, if everyone does their job, we're a better team than them. They will have to all put in better performances than they probably have this entire season in this one particular moment. That's the sharpest moment, the most important moment. So let's go out there and again, to your point a little bit, Travis, like, let's be a little bit loose. Let's not be too heavy. Like, we're a good team. And I think that's what I take from looking at like their lineup, looking at the last game. They've won 2 out of 4, but they've also had a loss or 2 losses, I believe. So it's like they've been hit or miss all season. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. Does that, does that mean like guys are like, I'm done here? Or, because Kansas City does have a little bit of a pedigree in the Open Cup, I believe they've won 4 previous Open Cups. So this is going for their 5th, would be pretty good feather in their cap in a season when like the rest of it does not matter. But those are all, I feel like those are all things that we say now, and then you just take your pick. Like however the game played out for you, like I've just given you the narratives for what to do.
No matter
like,
what happens.
No matter what. And you might already have yours figured out and not even know it.
And I always think about this emotionally and psychologically because I don't know about the other stuff. But like, if I'm a Kansas City player, this is the game. This is the last game I give a shit about, right? So I'm going to put my fucking heart into this game. And that could have been a real hardship for us. But I also think now the players on LAFC know in the back of their minds, this is a really important game for them as well. And it wasn't a month ago. So there's a weird amount of pressure on both teams. And in some ways it matters more to LAFC because they're still fighting for all that other stuff, which we'll go into our second storyline. But quickly, before we forget, what do we need to know about Cincinnati? And then we can move on.
Well, besides the fact that you can watch it with Darren and I on LAFC Gold. True. And like,
you'll tell them everything you need to know then.
Yeah, if you felt like you don't get enough reason to like yell at Darren and I in like the hour post game, now we give you extra 90 minutes. So even better. But Cincinnati, I mean, they're good. I think what's important about this game is, other than Columbus, we have not played one of like the real top teams in the East. I know we're all assuming that Columbus will probably be in the MLS Cup final, but maybe they won't be. We're also all assuming that Messi will be there. Maybe they won't be. And I think if Columbus isn't there and if Miami isn't there, it'll be this team. So that's where it'll be important. And if you can pull out some kind of point, or just, you can get a win or a really good showing there after hopefully a trophy on Wednesday, I think that'll make us feel really, really good.
I've never been anticipating a loss more than the game against Cincinnati this weekend.
I sold that pretty well, though, right?
Yeah, you did. Check out LAFC Gold. So our second storyline of the week, we've already gotten to some of it, so it could be quick, but it's this. Can this week turn around our MLS season? For the last month, essentially since Leagues Cup, LAFC have looked exhausted and at times borderline bad. We blew a winnable El Trafico because of exhaustion. We got emotionally walloped by Columbus again, twice this season, once last season. And we have struggled to figure out an offense with Giroud and a defense without Murillo. Since July 1st, in MLS matchups, LAFC has 2 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses. That is a far cry from the dominant team we knew all spring. Darren, does this skid we're in currently, and you touched on it a little bit, feel scarier than the one at the beginning of this year and last year, or does it just feel like another one of those?
Yeah, it feels scarier the later it is, because it's like the silver lining in the skid at the beginning of a season is, well, we just need a little bit more time to find each other and find the team and get the team to play together. And that is something that could still happen. And once that happens, we could be a totally different team. That's not true anymore. It's just not. So I think if they win U.S. Open Cup, I'm happy to grant them like a little hangover, and they can lose Cincinnati. And then it's just like, okay, we're giving up on the West. We're going to like rest and
we're currently
get into the playoffs.
In the West right now?
Yeah. So it's like, I would rather them like rest up and get into the playoffs in a shitty seed and get into the playoffs in a good spot, like rested and feeling good, than like just bust ass and have nothing left for the playoffs as like the 2 seed. So I'm fine with what happens after that. Get into the playoffs, have a good playoffs, hopefully win MLS Cup. If they lose U.S. Open Cup, like I said before, they need to win every single match for me to be satisfied.
But the flip side is, if we win Open Cup and Cincinnati, it will really feel like there's a level of a floor, right? We've reached the floor. We won a trophy and we beat a good team. There's a real world in which this week could drop the floor out for the team or prove that we've reached the pinnacle of sadness last week and we're on our way back up.
And Vince, already jumped up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Vince, in your opinion, what's the cause of this skid and what do we have to do to solve it?
It's been a couple of things. I do think the exhaustion's real, and I think that's a product of as many games as you're playing. Also, some of the injuries that popped up. I mean, it's like they got guys back and then they lost guys again. You get Tillman back, you lose Murray. You're kind of using Giroud in moments. Oliveira's then been out. Like, they haven't been able to play their best 11. I truly believe that. I feel like even regardless with games, if like health is the most important thing, and if you can just stay healthy and grind out tired games and get rest when you can, that's the best case scenario for Steve Cherundolo. But he's also had to just juggle guys not being there completely. So I think it's I don't want to keep going back to psyche, but like ahead of a game like this, it's really all you can talk about. And I think that a lot of these guys, to like Darren's point, are going into this game and being like, this is the single most important game of our season because it'll set us up for the rest of the season. And then if they happen to lose it, they have to be like Travis said and forget it immediately and pretend like that was just a final and we'll avenge it. We got it. Like, That's the only way to live.
Which we know the LAFC can't do, right? 2 years in a row, we've lost big final games and watched the hangover. And we're in the middle of one now. We know that these players are not capable of shaking it off when you have to play this many games. So it really is, the Open Cup final is that important, right? It not only matters for us winning a trophy, but it really feels like the quality for the rest of the season hangs in the balance of getting some sort of win there. The final storyline of the week, we don't have to talk about it long because I think it's somewhat not in our bag, but it is what the conversation is all over the YouTube comments and on Twitter. And so the final storyline of this is the thought experiment, what I want to do, which is this. What is your Steve Cherundolo breaking point? We are a very pro Steve Cherundolo podcast. We never want him to be fired after any situation, but I want to ask the question, at what point in the current timeline of LAFC do you think it becomes a reasonable time to say, hey, maybe we should think about a coaching change? What is that line for you? And if you don't know it, walk us through that process. And I want Darren to go first.
Oh, man. What the hell? To be honest, Vince has said almost a similar thing before. Like, I'm kind of never for firing the coach. I would just always prefer everyone just do better. Like, I think everyone involved in this team is capable of doing better than they're doing. So I would rather just see that. I can't think of, and this part of this is that I'm not an expert enough to know my way around alternatives, but like, I can't think of like, oh, well, we could replace this guy with this guy, and that's less of a gamble somehow, or the same with the coach. So,
well, Vince has taught you well. What's the better option?
Maybe.
I've heard Vince say that so many times. Vince has wormed into your brain like your RFK.
We know that this is a good option, even if it's just on paper. It's like these people are capable. So why are we going to gamble on other people that may also be capable? Like, why are we? I've also, like, I grew up as a Boston sports fan. I've watched. Okay,
thank you so much for your question, answer, Darren. Vince,
hold on, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. I've watched that experiment play out more times than I can count. Where like, they lose one game, everyone calls for the coach's head, they replace the coach, and then it doesn't help.
Yeah, okay.
Or the coach cheats on his wife, and then
I'll give my answer, but I want to hear Vince's answer first.
So mine is going to be like, I'm always going to base mine on like a long-term look of like what he's done, his whole body work. However, I can understand if you're like, he doesn't win finals, that's why I want him out. Now, you may not have a plan beyond that. If we can't agree on that, then we can't agree on anything. But I could see people when they say the finals. So for me, loses both finals, and then the only way it would happen in the offseason, even then I'd be reticent, is like if they're playing really bad. Because like, as much as you can say like they've lost finals, those are always one moment, one game. Every team loses one game.
And we've gotten to those finals.
Well, yeah, and we've gotten to those finals. I hate saying that because people hate hearing it. But like, that means you're a good team. And I just look at where Steve started from. He started with a team that they had to make a lot of changeover. Remember how many changes they made going into the 2022 season? And they were good changes. Like, he got given a really good roster and a good bones of a roster from Bob Bradley and kind of the players that he had. But Carlos was still, let's say, in and around an area where you say like still could turn it on and be one of the best players in this league. And then you give him the types of players that he also got, the Gareth Bales, the Giorgio Chiellinis, and he wins. So he does what you expect him to do. But then remember the season, a lot of guys left and they had to start again. And yes, they got to a final, and yes, they lost it. And we got very upset about that. And then they went through the season. We were like, well, I mean, I feel pretty bad about that, but like, maybe we can put it together. And then they had their dip, but they still got to another final. I'm not even going to talk about Campeones Cup. That was just like, they were there. But they got to another final, which means, again, they're playing well. And they lose. And so now Carlos Vela is gone. Like, I can't stress how much like your guy that's been your guy for the longest time is gone. Not to mention the guy that like showed up and immediately endeared himself to everybody and like felt like he was always family here. Because when you're here in LAFC, you're family, just like Olive Garden. Giorgio Chiellini. I had to do it. It just fell into my lap.
No, can't figure it out. Keep going.
But so, and then there is other changes, right? And through that,
Oliveira Garden, got it. Keep going.
Oliveira Garden. Remember the Oliveira Garden has now borne fruit after we last season were like he's not very good. Mm-hmm. Like players have not only have they played good and gotten to finals, but think about this: players have gotten better. Bogusz has gotten better. Oliveira's gotten better. Look, we were talking about how Murray was Superman again all of a sudden, and like he found a way to make him better. Maxime Chanot is a good player, but there's no saying that he was just going to show up and be good. He was in the second division in France. I don't care how much of a Euro snob you are. The second division of France is not necessarily better than MLS. Timothy Tillman took a step up. Guys have gotten better, and then Bouanga's just still Superman, right? So unless all of a sudden the guys don't really want to play from him and they start playing really, really bad and losing those finals, then I'm willing to give him another chance because with the way MLS works, the roster is going to churn again. Like Giroud just got here. He's sadly going to be firing probably right when the playoffs come to an end. Like he's going to be feeling really good with his team. And then guess what? He's going to have a long off season and they're going to change a bunch of players again. I don't know. I'm willing to give him a chance. And if you're not going to, then I will default to Darren and say, well, then the coach you better bring in better be better than Steve. You don't just like
Greg Berhalter, of course.
Yeah.
No, everything you're saying, it's a lot of things to take for granted to say that somebody else could do better.
What? And I think that's the long and short of saying like that's why I don't say people should be fired, because then I have to give you an hour long on why I'm like at the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm finally thinking about it. And like that's how teams are doing that many, many times throughout the year. Like John Thornton is having these conversations. Just because you don't hear about them and just because they don't break the way that you want them to doesn't mean that he hasn't weighed everything up. If he goes with Steve, he has reasons. And it blows my mind when people are like, no, he's just stupid. And I'm like, okay, then we can't have a conversation like that.
Yeah. I think everything you said actually swayed how I feel about it a little bit, because I've been more open to hearing some of the Dolo out conversations as of lately, because we're in a skid. But here's what I think. I think the strongest thing you also said is how good players have gotten since they arrive here. I think that speaks a lot to a coach. You think about coaching as winning, but it's also improving the roster that you have. And that's not something people discuss very often. And Steve Cherundolo has gotten the best out of everyone that he can. There's no coach since Steve has been our coach that has won as much as him, that has succeeded as much as him. And yes, we've lost big games. And I actually do think if we win Open Cup, that can be a real legitimate discussion, because this is a final we should win. It's at home against a team that we are better than. If we lose that game, it is worth saying, hey, it's a real pattern, right? This is a pattern. And it's not just a pattern in games we should lose. I think even so, if we then go on a run in the playoffs, he's not going anywhere. But let's say we lose this game, end the season weak, and blow out early in the playoffs, first round, second round, I think there's a real moment where a discussion will be had, right? I think Thorington would say, is that we're about to potentially get Griezmann. He couldn't figure out Giroud. Is the solve bringing in someone else as a clean slate, right? And I think that would be reasonable. If the season implodes after a loss tomorrow, sure. But I even think if we win tomorrow and then the season implodes, we could still point to a fucking trophy, right? And that would even save him. I think both things have to happen because he's been so consistently good on paper. And I know emotionally and narratively that doesn't always feel true about Steve Cherundolo, especially right now. But I think you have to give him credit for what he's done. And I do think everything Vince said is right. And it's why that none of us are pro Dolo being fired. But I thought it would be because people give us shit for being so good and kind to Dolo. I wanted to do the thought experiment. I'm happy that we did it. And now let's have some fun. When we come back, some trivia on the pantheon of Lamar Hunt US Open Cup trivia. History trivia, history.
Same thing.
Now I'm going to play a little guitar sound, and then you're going to hear ads for, I don't know, insurance.
And we're back. LAFC has a chance to win the one and only Lamar Hunt US Open Cup this week, which, beyond providing our first bit of hardware and a launchpad of desperately needed good vibes into the final stretch of the season, would also have, objectively, inarguably, deep intrinsic value as the trophy for the country's oldest ongoing national soccer competition, and as we've only ever said on this show, the only hardware an MLS team can win that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
As such, it is important that we honor that history by remembering the forefathers who came before us over the last 110 years in a game we're calling Real US Open Cup Winner or Bullshit.
I can't believe we've made it this far without saying grow the game. We have a real opportunity to grow the game this week.
Yeah.
And like if we
implied.
win, it's crazy how girthy the game's going to be. If we win, the game will be
full of girth.
Like it'll be veiny. The game will be so thick.
You do want the game to have more veins. You want the blood flow. You want there to be a lot of activity. You want the fans coming into the stadiums. You want people buying tickets. You want people interested in the merch. You want people to understand that USL League is also a good league. Mm-hmm. You might not live in a city that has an MLS team. You might live in a city that has a USL team. Those are great teams too. The country is a country of soccer players and soccer fans.
And there's no better way to grow the game than with a grainy YouTube stream.
Oh, come on. It's on Apple this time.
It's on Apple
this time. But
they grew the broadcast.
They grew the broadcast.
The broadcast got girthier as we went down.
The cables they used to broadcast it got girthier.
That is literally true.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a team, and you're each gonna answer. The whole thing is rapid fire. I'm gonna give you the name of a team, and you're gonna tell me whether it's real or bullshit. Real doesn't just mean it's a real team that exists. Real means they've won the U.S. Open Cup.
Oh, so they can be a real team that's lost.
They can be a real team that's lost, or a team that I just made up.
This is a sneaky good one.
Can I request answering first? Because I think Vince will know more of the teams than I do, and I don't want to be swayed.
He'll answer first on all rounds, which is what I have on my little table here.
If these were like minor Italian teams like Serie A and Serie B, then yes. But
I will say all of these teams are
FC.
How dare you, sir?
All of the teams are either
DFC.
Real or made up American teams.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of guardrails.
Yeah, but I will say there's also some names in there that have some historical significance.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Travis, real or bullshit? Bethlehem Steel.
Real.
Vince.
Real.
They are real. They won the U.S. Open Cup. Philadelphia Ukrainians.
Bullshit.
Vince?
This is tough because I think there is a team called the Ukrainians that won, but I don't know if they're from Philadelphia. I'm going to say real just to maybe get one right.
They are real. Travis. Did they win the U.S. Open Cup? Real or bullshit? Maccabi Los Angeles.
They've never won the Open Cup, but they're real. Bullshit.
They have won the Open Cup.
That is correct. They have won. They are real. It is a real champion. Is it a real champion? The San Jose Oaks.
Bullshit.
Vince?
Bullshit.
They are real. They won. The San Jose Pines.
Oh,
bullshit. If there's an Oak and Pines and they both won Open Cup, bullshit.
I'm gonna say real just because maybe they're a rival team and they finally got it over on the Oaks. You know,
they are bullshit.
I'm gonna stop doing the sounds when Vince and I don't agree.
Yeah, it gets complicated. Travis, did they win the U.S. Open Cup? San Francisco Italian Athletic Club.
That's a real team.
Okay, no. This is one of those ones where like I know there's Ukrainians and I didn't know if it was Philadelphia and I think there's Italians, but I don't think it's San Francisco. So bullshit.
Did you say Philadelphia Ukrainians were real?
Yeah.
And you were right on that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're wrong on this one. They're real.
Yes.
Travis, real or bullshit? Rochester Rhinos.
Oh, that's real.
Yeah.
Confidence.
I know about the Rhinos. They're a USL
team. About the Rhinos?
They're like the best, most recent USL team. I mean, no offense to like Sacramento, but like they actually won.
Okay. You're both right.
Yeah.
The Richmond Kickers.
They're real. The Kickers are real.
Did they win though? Yeah, let's say they won. They won.
You're both right. Travis, the St. Petersburg Kickers.
Fake.
Vince?
Fake. I think you're trying to do something with the Tampa Bay Rowdies to try to get us off.
Okay, you're both wrong. Travis.
The St. Petersburg Kickers also won. 2 different kickers have won.
3 different kickers have. Oh no, 2 different. I don't know.
Well, technically,
all I can tell you right now
there was 11 kickers on the
won.
team. So then times 2, 22 kickers.
2.
Times 2 different. No, don't do it. Just go. Keep going.
Okay, Travis. Carson kickers.
Fake.
Yeah, fake.
Vince.
They don't have enough
You're
history.
both correct. They are bullshit. All teams from Carson are bullshit. Travis, the Los Angeles Kickers.
So you did say 3. You might have tipped your hat here. I'm going to say...
I never said 3.
You did say 3. We heard you say 3. I'm going to say yes because...
Roll the tape back.
You said 3. Roll the tape back. Roll the fucking tape back. Darren, when you're editing this, you're going to see you said it. It's 3. It's a real team and it won Open Cup.
Now you're giving Darren homework on it. I don't know. Part of me wants to say real because I want to think that Darren was trying to like pull a fast one on you so hard by saying no, he didn't say 3. But then another part of me thinks that maybe I know he said 3, but I don't know if he said it towards that.
Yeah, he might have said 3 because accidentally it was on here and it was
Darren's
fake.
Sneaky. I want to say real.
They are real. You're both right.
Yeah. See, Darren's
but
sneaky.
Here's the thing:
he's
I said 3,
sneaky.
If I said 3, it's because I looked at Rochester Rhinos and thought that they were the 3rd kickers. I hadn't scrolled down yet.
So 3 different kicker teams have won, and one is from LA.
Bring back the kickers.
Yes.
How are none of the? I mean, I guess there's a long storied history of kickers around different cities around the United States. But come on, we need one.
But we're not done.
Team. No, I mean I'm just saying in MLS. How is none of the teams naming the kickers?
I don't know.
That's
Kansas
Travis
City
and I were
talk about betraying your history.
Didn't we play on a soccer team in college called the Soccers?
Yeah, we were the
soccer balls.
I think
we were in a kickball team called the Kickballs.
The Kickballs.
Smart.
What was everyone's youth soccer? I was on the Stratford Strikers.
I was on a team called Orange Crush at one time.
That's cool. Ooh, that's a good team.
Yeah.
Wait, let's go. Travis, we're still on the same stint. New York Kickerbockers.
No way, that's fake. Too clever for
I want it to
athletics.
Be real so bad. I'm going to say yes.
What, there's never been a team that's clever?
I'm going to say yes.
Except for Orange Crush.
It's bullshit. I made it up. Okay.
Aww.
New York Ukrainians.
Just giving away free names.
Another Ukrainian team won?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes. That's real.
They've won the U.S. Open Cup?
Yeah.
I'm going to say I feel like there was only one Ukrainians. I'm going to say bullshit.
It's real. They won.
I'm back in it. I think I'm beating Vincent.
Travis, New York Nationals.
More team named Ukrainians than Italians won? Man.
The New York Nationals. No, that's fake.
Vince?
Real.
Vince, you're correct. It's real.
Oh, fuck.
New York, Hungary.
Ooh.
The specificity of saying Hungaria and not Hungarian after saying Ukrainian makes me know that it's a real team.
Okay.
I'm going to say bullshit because I bet you the team is the Bulgarians.
Is it Hungaria or Bulgaria?
Or it's Hungaria.
Or Hungarians.
Hell yeah.
It's real. They won. New York Hakoah.
Hakoah?
Mm-hmm.
Like
sure. It's so weird that you didn't make that up. Yeah, that's real.
Vince?
It's not real.
It's real.
Oh, come on.
New York Pan-Cyprian Freedoms.
Yeah, it's got to be real. This is too weird.
What is a Pan-Cyprian?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, it has to be real.
I know, and I haven't picked up Darren's cadence yet in this game, so I don't know which way to go here. I'm going to go real.
You're both right. They're real. They won. The New York German-Hungarian.
That's fake or bullshit.
Yeah, it was German-Austrian. Or Austro-Hungarian.
You're wrong. They're real. Both of you are wrong. Fuck you. New York Hota Bavarian SC.
Oh my God, these are all real. Are you kidding me? It's real.
I hope you just.
You're both right. They're real.
Yeah. Well,
the New York Americans.
The New York Americans, real.
Vince.
Real.
You're right. They're real. New York AO Crete.
Real. I'm gonna say real for every New York one. Real.
It's too late.
It's like
New
York.
Give me 10.
Yeah, New York just really went with a lot of them. I'll say. How could you have come up with this name if it was fake? Unless you combine.
There's a bunch of AO Cretes.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Okay, I'm gonna say. You're so sneaky. I'm gonna say bullshit.
They're real. I got you on that one. New York Red Bulls.
Bullshit. They've never won Open Cup.
I believe they did win one with Aaron Long.
Wow. Big steal on that one. Travis, you're right. They never won. Real Salt Lake.
Oh.
Never won Open Cup.
Travis, Vince?
No, I think there was a year where they did the double, and that was like for early MLS teams, that was a big deal. Like maybe 2011, 2012. I'm gonna say real.
Bullshit.
Yes.
Travis, Colorado Rapids.
Away with it. They've been around long enough that I'm gonna say that they won. They won the Open Cup.
No, I feel like that's
Vince says no.
They didn't take that serious.
They are bullshit. They have not won.
Yeah. They've won an MLS Cup though. We won the worst MLS Cups of all time.
We took a break from New York. Let's go back to New York. Brooklyn Hispano.
Yes, it's real.
Vince?
Real.
You're both right. Brooklyn St. Mary's Celtic.
Yes, real.
Vince?
No, it's too many things.
They are real. Travis, the Brooklyn Italians.
Real.
Oh, it better be real, Darren. How dare you?
They are real. They won.
Oh, good.
Brook Hatton.
Just Brook Hatton?
Like a Brooklyn Manhattan combination.
See, but like Brook Hatton's also a clothing. Could they have taken the name? I'm gonna say real.
Real.
Wow, you're both right. They're real.
Okay.
New Bedford Whalers.
Great name. Travis, how do you not know this?
I know this is speaking to my heartstrings, but New Bedford's a Massachusetts name, and the Whalers are a Connecticut team. I'm going to say bullshit. I think this is designed to make me want to say real, but it's bullshit.
The devious Massachusetts man did this to you?
Yeah.
I'm going to say real.
Mm-hmm. It was designed to get you, and I got you. They're real.
Ah, fuck.
Oh. I got it right.
Vince got it right. Chicago Fire.
Bullshit.
Vince?
Ante Razov was on the team. Bob Bradley coached the team. They won it twice.
Oh, shit. They're real. Chicago Falcons.
Ooh.
Bullshit.
I'm going to say real. It seems like it should be like a mashup NFL team, but I'm going to say real.
They are real. Chicago Viking.
God damn it. I'm going to say real, I guess.
I'm going to say fake. It's not far north enough.
They are real. Chicago Sparta Athletic and Benevolent Association Football Club.
No way. Okay, that's bullshit. Benevolent Association Football Club? Well, no, Association Football? Fuck. Okay, real. I'm going with real.
I'm going to stick by my rule. Too many things. You can't have a team.
They are real. Travis got it. FC Spartak, Greater Boston.
Real. When the longer ones have all been real. Real.
Only of Greater Boston, though. Real. No, I have to see from my rule. Fake.
They are bullshit. That was I played for that team.
Finally, the rule, the exception that proved the rule.
That was my club team.
That's funny. Oh, that's why you didn't want to say it.
Yeah. Fall River Rovers.
Yeah, I'm gonna say real.
Wait, are we doing all 106 years of this? No, I feel like this game is gone.
There are a few more, but I went on. There are all these runs.
I know you went on a tear. Real.
Travis, you said real too?
Mm-hmm.
You got it. Because Fall River is from Massachusetts, and Massachusetts is the GOAT. Fall River FC.
Whoa, calm down.
Bullshit, because I don't want you to have any fun anymore.
Yeah, they didn't smarten up and all of a sudden put an FC on there, so we're calling bullshit.
Okay, they're real. Fuck both of you. The Harmarville Hurricanes.
Oh, great name.
Real.
I know it's a real thing, like team, but I don't know if they've won. I want to say real, though.
They are real. Harmar Superstar Hurricanes.
Oh, should be real, but
real.
You're saying real?
Yeah.
Vince?
No.
They're bullshit.
Yeah, Harmar Superstar.
Herman Melville Hurricanes.
Great album.
Okay, fake bullshit.
Yeah, this is gonna be bullshit, but it'd be awesome if it was.
The Dan Harmon Harmarvilles.
Oh, bullshit. Now you got too far. Yeah, bullshit.
Miami Fusion FC.
Did they win the Open Cup? Did Miami Fusion win? I'm saying real. I want that to be true.
I'm going to say real because I feel like they had a star over their crest at one time.
No, it's bullshit. Philadelphia Union is the last one.
Oh.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they won 1 year. They won like a couple years back.
Bullshit.
Oh, they were in the final.
You guys vamp while I tally the totals.
They were in the final against Houston, and everyone was like, they should beat Houston pretty handily, and they didn't.
No. I would say people are always saying we have to remember our history in American soccer. I think there is no history lost to time more than the Miami Fusion Tampa Bay Mutiny era of Major League Soccer. It has been entirely erased from the collective memory. Outside of Carlos Valderrama wearing that cool Mutiny jersey, I don't think anyone else remembers anything about, especially the Fusion. The Fusion weren't around very long at all, but the Mutiny have just gone away. And I guess they should have just made the Rowdies the team. I don't know.
Well, they contracted both of them at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah.
The winner and still champion if he won last time, and new champion if he didn't win last time. I don't know or care. Vince 24, Travis 28.
Yes! I feel like Vince always beats me at these games, so I'm happy to have won.
No, you beat me in all the games that don't matter, and then I win the League's Cup bracket and just kill everyone.
Oh yeah, I want to say that Bethlehem Steel, both Bethlehem Steel and Maccabi Los Angeles have won 5 times, which is the most and more than any MLS team.
Bethlehem Steel is such a good name.
But Sporting KC could win their 5th.
They are tied for the most in MLS.
Well, that won't happen, and we're going to be added to that list this Wednesday. When we come back, we're going to make some bets.
And we're back. Now it's time for a segment called Bet It and Forget It.
Bet it and forget it.
Every week we end the show with a bet for this week's games. We make an outlandish prediction, something that almost definitely will not happen, but could. Each week we all put up $5. If no one hits, the money rolls over to the next week, and eventually by the time someone's weird prediction comes true, they might win a good chunk of change. Our bet pool for this week is now $90.
Okay, we're up there. We've gotten up there.
Yeah.
I have a bet that I'm very confident in. Last week I bet that Carlos Vela would score a goal. He barely showed up to the game as a fan. So that didn't happen. He was
literally drinking beer in the stands.
So here's my amended bet. In one of the 2 games this week, Carlos Vela game winner. Goal is not enough. It's the goal that wins us the game. Carlos Vela game winner, one of the 2. It's not Open Cup. One of the 2 games game winner.
Holy shit.
Vela loves a narrative.
That's awesome.
It's the only reason he came back was for the narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. I need to up my game. I'm going to stall.
Okay. Then I've got mine.
Oh, good.
And I don't want to sound like morbid or morose, but short of a blood sacrifice from a goalkeeper, LAFC does not win finals. So I'm not going to go that far and say that Hugo Lloris will be sacrificed in order for us to win this game. But what I am going to say is that he will not finish the game as LAFC's goalkeeper.
Oof, that's a rough bet.
It doesn't have to be as bad as it was. That's what I'm saying.
You got to donate if you win. If you win, you got to donate that money to some charity, my man.
I'm just saying it's like it's getting close to October. We're in fall. It's like the first Monday in fall. I'm just feeling a little spooky. Maybe there is some kind of curse that needs to be broken. And unfortunately,
what if we're down and he comes back with like a face paint on and he's like Spooky Lloris, or Spooky Boo or Hugo Boo Reese. If he comes back as Hugo Boo Reese, you still win.
I still win. Yeah. So the 2 options are he gets knocked out of the game and LAFC win, or he leaves for a bit, comes back as some kind of
haunted
demon
version of himself,
and LAFC wins. So if either of those hit, albeit one seems a little bit more likely,
Spooky Boo Reese.
Yeah, it's clearly the latter.
Darren, did you stall long enough?
Yeah,
yes.
Did it give you enough ammo?
I'm gonna cut my chances in half, and my prediction can only apply to U.S. Open Cup, and say that they will win on PKs.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it would be actually, Darren, what if they beat Cincinnati on PKs on Saturday?
They can't.
The teams come together and they're like,
yeah, but that's what you're saying. They can't, but that's what betting is. They could.
But could. They can't, but they could.
If the teams got together and said, let's do it, what's stopping them besides the rules?
Right.
I suppose you could say if the only goals are penalty kicks and LAFC wins, That's something.
Well, we shall see. That's our show. Remember to follow along Saturday over at LAFC Gold to watch Darren and Vince do a live watch along of our Cincinnati game. But our theme music is done by the insane team of James Valentine, Nate Walcott, and Louis Palmer. It's been long enough to remind everyone that James Valentine's from Maroon 5, Nate Walcott's from Bright Eyes, Louis Palmer's one of the best jazz musicians or drummers in Los Angeles. Insane that they've done.
You could say musicians.
What are you saying?
Drummers aren't musicians.
Drummers
are not musicians.
We're going to catch a lot of strays.
So incredible that they did our theme music for us. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot. Review us, follow us. And if you made it this far in the episode, chances are you're enjoying the show. Please consider telling a friend about this show and our live streams after the game, or becoming a Patreon member for $5 a month over at patreon.com/HappyFootSadFoot. You could get U.S. Open Cup merch, unofficial. I'm surprised we haven't gotten taken down yet. Over at happyfootsadfootpod.com. Patreon subscribers get 15% off all merch. We have some really fun new stuff. And we're running on dregs of the scarves. These scarves, if we don't sell out, and we haven't yet sold out, but we're close, you can't get these next year. So if you want them, it's time right now, Patreon subscribers, to get them. I think we owe somebody a scarf for the bracket. We have to figure that out. Any support goes a long way, keeping the show going and the community growing. Thanks again, and we'll see you at US Open Cup, baby. I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
That's trophies, baby.
Oh, that's a Vince guarantee. A guarantee.
We're trying too hard.
I'm pressing stop and it's not working. It's not stopping. We'll never failed to stop recording.
Oh my God. We have to keep going.